Dr. Kevin Moulin of the Childersburg Pet Clinic joins us this morning. Kevin, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. And gosh, you've been doing this. You were on this show with Debbie Jacobson 100 years ago, man.
It seems that way, yes.
Wow. Now, you got a veterinary practice in Childersburg.
Correct.
Talk about that and how you got started there.
Well, I grew up here in Sylacauga and married a woman from Sylacauga. I took a few jobs out of vet school that took me to Florida for a short time, then to Georgia for a short time, and then, as things do happen sometimes in business, kind of had a falling out with my boss and decided I wanted to be my own boss.
There you go.
So moved back home. They already had 2 vets in Sylacauga, so decided to open up.
30 years over there?
Been this October will be 30 years.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And we were talking before we came on about Dr. Moulin treated my Coco, the Shih Tzu, back years ago. And you know, we got Memorial Day weekend coming up, and I've heard stories about, and I remember Coco with fireworks and stuff, he'd get awful fidgety. What causes that?
Well, it's both the sounds that they hear. Their hearing is so much more intense in animals than it is with humans, and so those sounds to us, although pleasurable, can be quite frightful to a dog. They have no idea what that sound is, and so it's very fearful for a lot of pets, both dogs and cats, actually.
So, you know, we as pet owners and stuff like that, we know about the fireworks. We know what's going to happen. So how do we kind of take care of our pets during that time?
Yeah, it's hard to prepare a pet for something when they can't understand what you're telling them. Although I do realize a lot of people believe their pets understand them completely, so yeah, unfortunately, medications do come into account with these types of situations. I've had my owners use things from Dramamine to Benadryl. Then we have various products that are available by prescription through your veterinarian that can actually help the pet to be more calm during those times. They do make a special shirt called a Thunder shirt that can be purchased that kind of wraps tightly around the pet, making them feel as if they're being cradled or held by the pet owner. And of course, holding your pet during those stressful times can be a way to calm them down as well.
I have an acquaintance here in town that his pet got away from him and was running away, and this guy's trying to chase his pet, and he falls down and dislocates his shoulder.
Wow.
And you know, when a pet can get loose from you and you think they're not going to do anything, they're going to stay right here, that's not necessarily so.
No, that's not true. When they're scared, they're terrified, they're going to try to get as far away from the sound that they've heard as they possibly can. And so yes, that does happen quite frequently, where the pet gets away and takes off.
What are other causes for an animal that is calm and sedate to break and run?
I guess sometimes if the parents are possibly having a fight, if there's maybe it usually would be sound induced for them. Lightning, thunder, you know, bright lights flashing in the sky that they're...
So they got to panic a little bit, maybe?
They go into panic mode. They sure do. Kind of like when I do toenail trims.
So, do you get attached to the animals?
Yeah,
I would.
Yes, it's hard not to. I mean, I went into this business because of my deep love for the pets, and so it's hard not to get attached. When you see a patient of yours as you've seen it at, say, 6 weeks old, right after it's weaned from its mama and daddy, and then you watch it grow and you take care of it for that many years, 12, 15, 18 years, you know, it's hard not to get attached to them. some of my patients do get attached back to me. Others are so fearful of their veterinarian, and that's one more fear that they can have. Again, those pets, we usually do medicate them prior to coming in, try to give them a treat or something to try to calm them down. Try to take things easy, not stare them in the eyes, which they find to be a threatening gesture, not come at them with an overhand pat on the head, instead, you know, come under the chin to try to, again, not be threatening to them and try to soothe them. Unfortunately, in this business, I do have to do things that hurt the pets, like give them a shot and draw blood from them, you know, take x-rays and things like that they find.
They don't like you at that point, probably, do they?
They usually don't care for me at that stage, yeah. And fortunately, or unfortunately, sometimes we do have to use a muzzle on them to keep them from snapping and biting, and it's just because they're in pure panic mode and can't seem to calm them down.
Do you treat more cats than dogs, or what?
I treat actually more dogs than cats. I mean, dogs are still the #1 pet in America. I'd say it's probably at my practice about a 70-30%, 70% dogs, 30% cats.
Yeah. You treat other type of animals too?
I do exotic work. Just this week, Monday, I had 3 turtles brought in to me.
Turtles?
Turtles.
Okay.
I treat snakes and iguanas, as long as they're not poisonous snakes. But I've had hedgehogs and brought in. I've had gerbils, hamsters, birds of all kinds brought in, chickens, ducks, things like that. So I kind of got into that during Auburn, when I was going to school at Auburn University, and they have a raptor rehabilitation program down at Auburn. The raptor rehabilitation program takes injured birds of prey that they rehabilitate and release back into the wild. And so got involved in that program while I was there, and just felt like there has to be a need for exotic pets that people own. They're parts of the family, just like the dogs and the cats become parts of the family.
So you talk about your staff a little bit. Who you got helping you there?
I have been very fortunate to retain most of my staff. I've had a technician, Renee Blankenship, who has been with me for almost my entire 30 years in the practice here. Got a receptionist that's been with me now for going on 20 of those years, and then I've got 2 young people that are working in the front staff and the kennel staff, and then I brought my son in recently, who during the COVID, he kind of lost his job and needed a way to help support his family. So while he's going back to school, I've brought him in, and he's kind of my floater. He kind of does all the different jobs where they're needed. So.
Now what, you're right there on Plant Road?
We are located at 1440 Coosa Pines Road, which is also known as the Plant Road, and again, been there for almost 30 years now.
Well, every pet owner, whether it's a dog or a cat or an exotic animal, when their pet is sick or injured, it's an emergency to them.
It is.
And how do you handle emergency calls? You got to be off sometime, don't you?
Yeah, I am. I do leave my home number on my answering machine for after hours, and I've had to drive out after hours sometimes and take care of them. Fortunately for us now too, not too far up the road in the Birmingham area, in the Inverness area, there's an emergency animal hospital that's opened up there that when I'm unavailable, say Memorial Day weekend, when I may be out of town and possibly out on the lake enjoying the fishing or something like that.
You really enjoy life, you know?
I try. It's a stressful job, so you have to have a way to decompress.
So is there a particular type of animal as far as a big dog, little dog, or a particular species of dog or animal that you see more than others?
Yes, I mean the dogs themselves are what I'd see the most of. In this area, we tend to see, because there's a lot of farms in the area, we do actually tend to see a lot of Great Pyrenees brought in. That's a real popular breed. German Shepherd's still a very popular breed, Labrador Retrievers. And then as far as the little dogs go, the Bulldogs are really making
What is that?
The French Bulldogs,
Okay.
the English Bulldogs, they're really kind of making a resurgence. It seems like they're becoming very, very popular among the people in this area.
Well, we're talking to Dr. Kevin Moulin of Childersburg Pet Clinic on Plant Road, Coosa Pines Drive over there in Childersburg. Now, June the 4th is Hug Your Cat Day. What about hugging your animals? What does that do for an animal?
It increases what's called the human-animal bond, which 33 years ago when I graduated vet school, they didn't talk much about the human-animal bond and how these pets become members of the family. As society has gotten more stressful, people really look to their pets. As kids grow up and leave the nest, the pets kind of take the place of the children, and so that bond just becomes so strong. Deal with so much emotion in the business when we're having to do euthanasias for the pets, when the pets have approached end of life and their quality of life has just diminished to a point. And it's quite stressful, which is another reason why we need to decompress as veterinarians from time to time.
No doubt about it. June is not only Adopt a Cat Month, but also the height of kitten season. So what are some of the medical considerations when adopting a cat or a kitten?
Yes, adopting a cat or a kitten is I would love for everyone to do that. The animal shelter in Sylacauga seems to be overrun right now with kittens, and really need help finding people to either foster or take those pets in permanently. When adopting a kitten, it is important right after adoption to bring it to the vet, to get it looked at, and have a full head-to-toe examination. Vaccinations are extremely important. We vaccinate against most of the upper respiratory viruses that can afflict and kill kittens if they get it and it turns into pneumonia. Obviously, deworming the kitten, especially if there are children in the household, because some of those worms can pass to children as well. So keeping them up to date on dewormings and vaccinations and keeping the fleas and ticks off of them this summer is going to be quite important.
You know, several years ago, I was on a highway going somewhere from somewhere, and a dog runs out in front of me. And I catch the dog with the front part of my car. The dog is injured.
Yeah.
And honestly, Kevin, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I see Facebook posts where people are posting about, hey, I've seen this dog or this cat that's on the side of the road and is writhing in pain. What do I do? What do they do?
Well, I mean, when you approach an injured dog or an injured cat, it's very important to protect yourself. When they have been injured, they have a tendency many times to lash out at the person who is trying to help them. So it would be best to use a blanket or a towel to wrap them in. Shock, the #1 treatment when having a trauma injury is shock kicking in, and their body temperatures begin to drop in that regard. So wrapping them up in something like a jacket or a shirt, or if you have a blanket or something there. It also is important to try to keep them from biting you as you're lifting them and putting them in your vehicle to bring them to the vet.
And you deal with that when they come to your site too.
I do. That's when those muzzles come in quite handy. But in the fact that most people would not have a muzzle on, you may have to take your sock off and tie it around the pet's mouth to try to keep them from snapping at you as you gently lift them and bring them to the vet.
So what are some of the common causes you see for treatment at your facility?
The treatments we still see with a lot at the clinic are parvovirus. We see still a lot of that, especially as the weather warms up. That is a puppy illness that causes severe vomiting and diarrhea, especially with a lot of blood in it. We do tend to see a lot of worms, a lot of flea infestations, and right now with the spring, the biggest thing we're seeing is skin allergies related to the pollen.
What about ticks and fleas? Talk about that a little bit.
Ticks and fleas are a huge problem living anywhere in the south, anywhere where the weather warms up as quickly as it does down here. We do not get much of a winter. People many times will stop their flea and tick in the winter months, which is not really a good idea because you're in a constant nonstop battle with fleas and ticks, and you want to keep their numbers down as low as possible to make it easier to keep those numbers down when the weather does get as warm as it's getting right now.
Yeah, but finally, before we go this morning, talk about pets, whether it's cats or dogs or another exotic type animal, for seniors. You know, we got a senior-laden America, and it seemed like that seniors really love their pets.
They do. They do. And they take very good care of the pets that they do take in. Yes, the seniors, I tend to actually see mostly cats and small breed dogs. The biggest concern with a large breed dog with a senior is if it's a strong dog, very likely pulling that senior down to the floor or them falling over it. Now granted, yes, you can fall over a cat or a small dog just as easily, but it's more the jerking and pulling that injures them, and that's the biggest worry I've always had with them. But that companionship that is there, especially if that senior has lost a spouse in their final years, that companionship, again, that human-animal bond that they feel is extremely important with those pets. And so yes, I think it's quite important mentally and physically for a senior to have a pet in their home.
Just came to my mind, I had a news story this morning about a lady in North Alabama who was mauled by a pack of dogs.
Yes.
And it killed her.
Yes.
Is that a problem here?
Yeah, it's a problem everywhere, I believe. The packs of dogs, when they form a pack, and sometimes they attack out of just pure dominance. They're looking to dominate the area. The person has wandered into the area that pack has cordoned off for themselves, and they attack to protect their area. Sometimes they do attack because they're hungry and they're a pack of wild dogs and they just looking for an easy source of food. Human beings are not very fast to run away, and can be an easy prey sometimes for a pack of dogs.
Wow, no doubt about it. And you know, you just don't want to go petting any kind of animal, that is for sure. Dr. Kevin Moulin, our guest this morning from Childersburg Pet Clinic. And doctor, it's always a pleasure, and thanks for coming this morning. Have a great day and happy Memorial Day to you.
Happy Memorial Day to you.
More day break coming up right after this.